Welcome back to episode 2. I'm Claire.
And I'm Isaac.
Let's just dive in. What have we got coming up?
Well, we're going to be looking at Site Engine, and we're going to be looking at the features, talking about the most important features of Site Engine. We're going to be talking about a happy marriage, and then we're going to be talking about licensing.
A happy marriage? Tell me more.
So, a happy marriage is really one of the things that customers love about this product is the ability for Site Engine to manage devices from vendors that have got nothing to do with Extreme. We manage devices oftentimes better than the companies who create those products themselves.
I see. So the happy marriage is everyone happy. I got you. Okay. And remember, guys, to stay tuned until the end of episode 3 to find out how you get hold of that certification exam.
That's right.
We ready?
We're ready.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's take a look at some of the functionality offered by ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine. The first of these is how it simplifies the onboarding and the management of new universal ExtremeCloud IQ switches. One of the most intensive jobs a network administrator can take on, although generally not on a regular basis, is the job of deploying hardware. This becomes a lot more difficult if you have, for example, a distributed campus type of environment where you have locations all over the place, but possibly limited or no human capital and you have to get there yourself. Well, if you have the ability to get all the products onboarded into the cloud very easily, this means that all you really need is somebody to walk over to a particular location and they just need to know how to plug in the power into one of these devices, plug a network cable into any one of the ports, and immediately that device is connecting up to ExtremeCloud IQ, pulling down the profile that has been sent to it, and it configures itself magically. We've got a video to show you of the actual process of onboarding a device. Take a look at how easy it can be.
In this video we will show you how to onboard an access point into ExtremeCloud IQ and illustrate how straightforward this process is. This video has been structured to enable you to follow along and pause as required. To start, log into ExtremeCloud IQ and select Manage Devices. To add an access point, you simply click on the plus button. Select Quick Add Devices and then enter the serial number of the access point. The illustration on screen shows you where to find the serial number on the device itself. Once you have added the serial number, you click on Add Devices and you will see that ExtremeCloud IQ has reported that the device has been added successfully. Prior to connecting your access point, ensure DNS, NTP, and the required firewall ports are configured. Further information is available in ExtremeCloud IQ. You may need to wait a few minutes for the device to show as connected. Successful connection is indicated by the icon changing to green. Let's imagine you have a large number of devices to onboard, then you have the option to import using a CSV file. An example template of the required format is available. Once your device is onboarded, you are able to assign a network policy and location if previously configured in ExtremeCloud IQ. You also have the option to add an access point to ExtremeCloud IQ in advance of physical deployment by assigning the pre-provisioned deployment mode, indicated by a purple status icon. This can easily be reverted back to production mode when the access points are deployed and ready to be actively managed by ExtremeCloud IQ. For devices other than access points, use the device make drop-down as shown. To provide the required view of your onboarded devices, a filter can be applied. This can be very useful as the number of managed devices grows and you need to effectively monitor and manage large deployments. For more information, you can select the question mark icon to access context-sensitive help or refer to extremenetworks.com.
How easy is that? So simple. Now you might look at that and say, yeah, so what's the big deal? I mean, okay, it works, so what? If you have dozens of devices, hundreds of devices that you need to onboard, this tool, this functionality gives you an accelerated deployment. And what does that mean? It means money. It means you save money, you save effort, you save time, because you can do so much more, so much quicker. How about the ability to visualize the network? This is such a common failing in networks today that purchasing ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine for this capability alone makes a lot of sense. If you can't see it, you can't understand it. And there's nothing quite like a bird's eye view of a network to show you areas of concern. You can't believe how important this actually is. I used to run an IT business, and I would be called in occasionally to go take on a new client, to go manage a new network. And the first question I would ask when I'd get there is, can I see a network topology map? Guess what? No map. No one has ever done the job of actually mapping the network. That would cost the customer a lot of money. I would have to go from port to port, go figure out where everything is connected. I would create the topology map, but it took a lot of time and the company had to pay a lot of money. And I can't even tell you how many of my friends, other network engineers as well, tell me exactly the same thing. Just very recently, another one said to me, walked into this company, the guys had never done a topology map. How do you manage a network if you don't even have the basics of a topology map? ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine, you onboard the devices, they are there. You have this topology map. If your network engineer leaves, if your network engineer is sick or is not unable to come to work, or for whatever reason that is, you have a topology map. The next person can come in, open up Site Engine, and have a complete overview of the network. That is power. Let me show you a screenshot of what one of these topology maps is, and you can just see from this how powerful this would be if this was at your disposal. If you don't currently have a topology map of your network that looks like that, you really need to get Site Engine. If for nothing else, for that view, you need that. Make sure you get it. What about modifying configurations of many devices at the same time? And what about if it got better than that? You had the ability to back up and restore functionality if things actually went wrong. If you did this, you would reduce the risk of human mistakes. Now think of it as a network engineer's insurance policy against disaster. Again, a feature with buying Site Engine 4. This stuff happens. You do rollouts and things go wrong. The process of backing up and restoring data in an IT environment is an absolutely critical one, right? People have to back up data every single day. It really gets serious when you have to restore data. But anybody who's gone through the process of having to restore data, oh man, you know what pressure that is. So when you have this tool at your disposal where you can back up the configuration of your infrastructure, and then if something goes wrong, you're able to restore it, that is worth gold and well worth the price of buying Site Engine, whether you're an Extreme customer or whether you have other devices that you just want to manage with this great tool. For those network administrators who prefer managing through the CLI, guess what? Site Engine doesn't leave you behind. You can use the command line interface by just right-clicking on a switch, and there you have the ability to do scripting, to create scripts, or just manage from the command line. All of that power is available to you without you having to leave the Site Engine application. Automation or Workflow Manager is going to help you as a network administrator automate those processes that you normally do on a manual basis, right? Every task is going to have a set of processes. First do this, then you do that, then you do that. You can script all of that together so that one command will run all of that. But the next level is the ability to automate all of that. And you can set triggers for that. So you could say something like, at 1 o'clock in the morning, I want this particular workflow to run. When the trigger is reached, that workflow is going to run. It's going to run in those setups, in those steps that you've put together. And at the end of the day, it comes back and gives you a report. Everything ran, or there was a failure here, a failure there. It's a great tool. Policy Manager, well, this gives you the ability to control what a user can and cannot do, but it does it on device level, authorization control at device level. A good example of this is, think about an access point. You could walk into a reception area and there's an access point, hanging there on the roof, and you try and connect to that network. If you've set a policy that says no unauthorized devices can even connect to that wireless network, when you try and connect, it doesn't even allow you to get through the front door. The same thing with a switch. If you were to try and plug into a switch, or you've plugged in and you want to connect, well, Policy Manager would check your credentials, your authentication at that particular point. You can't even get beyond the switch. Is that all that Policy Manager does? No, that's just an example of what Policy Manager can do. There's so much more than that. I've called this section a happy marriage. Third-party devices working within ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine. One of the most popular features of Site Engine is this ability to be device agnostic, device independent. If a device can be managed, it almost certainly is able to be managed by Site Engine. And even if it's not detected automatically, you can still go in and you can add that manually into Site Engine. It's not the only benefit of Site Engine, but it's one of the most important benefits. Now, think about that as a network administrator. We've mentioned before that it's very rare to find homogeneous networks, to find networks that are only from one vendor. In fact, it's almost impossible. We use the story of a firewall, right? Extreme Networks doesn't currently make a firewall. We don't sell a firewall, but we have partners who do. If that device can be managed, ExtremeCloud IQ SE can manage that. What about older devices? You might have a network that's built up over the years and you have a lot of older devices as well as a mix of some newer Extreme Network devices, for example, switches or access points. Well, guess what? You can keep that investment in those devices, the older devices. You don't need to get rid of them, because ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine is able to connect to them and bring them into that single pane of glass where you can then manage your entire network. Access points, switches, legacy, firewalls, as long as it can talk in SNMP, ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine can manage that. So why just talk about it? Why don't we actually show you on screen what it looks like to manage a system using ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine? We took two switches, one from Extreme and one from another vendor, and we chose to update the firmware on both of these switches. We set them off at the same time. It's an interesting watch. Now, the video goes on for over 30 minutes, so it's quite long, but if you do want to watch the entire video end to end, you can always just scrub through it. You can follow it on this QR code on screen. We'll show the first couple of minutes and I'll talk you through what's happening on screen.
So now you can see we've got both the reference images for the Extreme switch as well as the switch from the other vendor, and we're going to start now the download process, and then we'll just wait and see how it goes.
Let's start talking about licensing. This is an important component in this whole solution. To do that, I'm going to talk about different scenarios. Let's start with the first scenario, which is for customers that have existing XMC. For those customers, there is a migration path that they can follow, which will ensure that all the data that they currently have will be migrated across into ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine. It's not a case of pressing one button and it all happens, but there are procedures, there is documentation on how to do that. Once you've moved everything you had in XMC into Site Engine, you can manage it as if it was XMC previously. There will be no additional cost, there's no additional licensing that will cost you no extra money to bring what you have into Site Engine. That is case number one. Case number two is if you buy Site Engine, you don't have other devices or you don't have XMC, then the approach is as follows. You need one pilot license for ExtremeCloud IQ Site Engine. Secondly, for every device that you need to manage, you need a pilot license. So if you want to manage 10 switches, it's 10 pilot licenses. That will allow you to manage everything you need to do, whether those devices are Extreme devices or third-party devices. Now that will work for your on-prem solution where you have the air-gapped, no talking to the cloud kind of situation. It will work for that, and it also works for situations where you want to use ExtremeCloud IQ and you want to use Site Engine. Those licenses get transferred into ExtremeCloud IQ and they are counted as individual licenses. If you then want to add other devices into, say, ExtremeCloud IQ access points, you can do that and you just pay one license per one device. As mentioned in other courses before, I'll just cover this quite quickly, and that is Extreme licenses are not tied to a MAC address. If you take the scenario where you have Site Engine and you have legacy devices or non-Extreme Networks devices and you have licenses for them, but you want to take them now off the network, maybe because they're insecure, maybe because they don't support SNMP3, then if you've already licensed them, you can simply remove them from the network and that license becomes available to use on any other device. If you took off a switch, it doesn't have to be a switch. It could be an access point. No problem at all. So ExtremeCloud IQ, ExtremeCloud Site Engine, very simple licensing structure. Now, one more thing I want to cover, and that is if you've connected Site Engine into ExtremeCloud IQ and you want to use the advanced features, you want to use the co-pilot features, which is things like digital twin, artificial intelligence, machine learning. If you want that capability, there is one further thing that you do. For every device that you have running on the ExtremeCloud IQ network, you need to have a co-pilot license. That's it. That's as easy as it is. We've still got some stuff running, that firmware update. Let's go have a look and let's see if it's completed already. It's still running. Oh my, I don't know how long this is going to take, but it's going to take quite long. If you want to watch and see what actually happened at the end, go and follow that QR code. You'll see the whole thing there. In this episode, we started by talking about features of Site Engine. We then moved on to a happy marriage where we looked at product agnostic capabilities within Site Engine, and then we ended with licensing. We've covered quite a lot of stuff. In the next episode, I'm going to be talking about analytics, and then I'm going to be talking about extreme control. Thank you for watching. See you there.